It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime. I've been planning it for months, researching the best spots, booking all the flights, and packing with the kind of excitement that only comes when you're about to step out into the unknown. It was all perfect until it wasn't. It happened so suddenly, I almost couldn't believe it. I woke up one morning and something felt off. I thought it was just jet lag, maybe a little dehydration. But by the afternoon, I could barely stand. The fever hit me like a wall, and soon enough, the chills started. I was in a foreign country, thousands of miles from home, and I couldn't even find the energy to get out of bed. I tried to convince myself that I'd feel better the next day, but I didn't. The days dragged on, each one worse than the last. I finally saw a doctor, and of course, it was something that required me to stop everything, an illness that wouldn't let me travel, let alone leave my hotel room. For a second, I thought, I'll just tough it out. I'm sure I'll be fine. But deep down, I knew that wasn't realistic. That's when the panic really set in. I had already paid for everything. The flights, the hotel, the tours. Not to mention the insurance I had totally forgotten about until that very moment. Then came the wave of guilt. Why hadn't I thought to check travel insurance before this? But in a flash, I remembered something I'd seen online just before I booked the trip, the idea that travel insurance wasn't just some extra thing you pay for, but a safety net for when the unexpected happens. I pulled out my phone, opened my email, and found that little policy document I had received right after purchasing. The company was Insure. At first, I'll admit, I wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, how many travel insurance companies promise you peace of mind, but don't deliver when you really need them? I had my doubts. But what happened next was, well, it was a relief I didn't know I needed. They offered everything I could have possibly hoped for. My flights got refunded, my hotel stays were covered, and they even helped me coordinate the medical care I needed. It wasn't just some generic insurance response. It felt personal. I wasn't just a claim number. They made me feel like they genuinely cared about getting me back on my feet. The weirdest part was that I'd almost dismissed the idea of travel insurance completely. I'd convinced myself I could handle it if something went wrong. But the reality hit hard. I couldn't handle being sick overseas. I needed help. And honestly, that's where Insure came through for me. Not just with my refund or coverage, but with the relief that came from knowing I wasn't alone. I didn't have to scramble to figure out what I could do about the mess I found myself in. They took the weight off my shoulders when I needed it most. In the end, I had to cut my trip short. It wasn't the way I imagined spending my time in that beautiful place. But at least I didn't lose everything I had invested in it. That's when I realized the real value of travel insurance. It's not about hoping something won't go wrong. It's about preparing yourself for the possibility that life might throw a curveball and having someone there to catch you when it does. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. Don't ever assume travel insurance is something you can skip or hope you won't need. You never know when life will take you by surprise, and having that extra layer of protection, it's not just a convenience, it can be a lifesaver. And honestly, I wish I'd learned this lesson earlier. It would have saved me a lot of unnecessary stress. If you're planning a trip or even just thinking about it, I highly recommend checking out Insure. It's not some random plug. I genuinely use them, and trust me, after this experience, I know I'm not going anywhere without it again. It was the best travel insurance hack I never thought I'd need until I did. So, do yourself a favor. Make sure you're covered, because you never know when you'll need that safety net.